All right, all right. Now that we've concluded Bitcoin's DeFi era and Meta Protocol era, let's continue into and begin the journey around layers, and particularly Bitcoin layers. Looking at the rise of Bitcoin L2s, and we're going to start with the Bitlayer ecosystem and the journey towards Bitcoin Finality. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome up our next speaker, the co-founder of Bitlayer, Charlie.
Hi, everybody. Can everybody hear me well? Yeah. Okay, we can start. The first Bitcoin security equivalent ecosystem. The journey has been since BTC Denver this year. And actually, I saw a lot of people, and also the panelists, all my friends. We know each other for many years. Last 5 months has been absolutely crazy journey. And I wanted to take this moment, the next 14 minutes, to share what happened. Right? What happened this year after ETF, during and post-halving, and what's going to happen next upcoming months, which potentially could make history for Bitcoin. So where we are in the industry, we're in this crazy, interesting asymmetric potential between Bitcoin ecosystem sitting on top of 1.5 trillion market cap, but very little things happening on the builder side with TVL, where the Ethereum in the last 8 years, from the ICOs, from the DeFi summer, from the gaming, NFT summer, we heard a lot, we learned a lot, we built a lot of failure as well, a lot of TVLs, hundreds of layer twos, a lot of interesting solution being built, but also a lot of byproduct problems to create as well. Whereas Bitcoin in the last 15 years, there was multiple attempts. There was an attempt of SegWit, there was an attempt of taproot asset upgradation, eventually leads to the ordinal season we had. I personally have been building things on Polkadot, Tezos, and Polygon. I completely orange peel myself when I see this chart. And this is a chart which is very important for people to know. And our vision is trying to build, people talk about layers and stuff, it's actually providing a new feature for Bitcoin. Because in the last 15 years, Bitcoin has been only one feature, which is digital gold and a store of value, right? You can only do payment. There's not too much you can be built on, right? There's very little activities. If we add this trustless, programmable environment on top of Bitcoin, basically all the things happen on Ethereum, all the other proof-of-stake ecosystem can flood back to the mother chain. That was my good friend from Vela, CEO of Vela, saying Ethereum was the biggest sidechain, right? So not trying to be tribalism. I still have a lot of my thousands of good friends in Ethereum. We're trying to orange peel them one by one. But the thing is, the things happening in Ethereum, there's a lot of ways to really move back to mother chain and actually tap into crazy opportunities. So that's our vision, to build this programmable computational layer for Bitcoin. So the story comes from 2021, actually. When I was ecosystem lead in Polygon, I know my co-founder and my current co-founder, Kevin. He was one of the engineers, the best engineers in Asia, leading the whole entire chain and engineering in Huobi. And back in days, Huobi, in case you don't know, there was one of the biggest exchange for the Bitcoin OTCs. All the Bitcoin miners would offload their Bitcoin to fiat to pay the electricity fee on that exchange. There was a lot of engineering work being done. And unfortunately, 70% of the computation power happening in Asia got shut down within like a week. So that was a history. And that was a very interesting pictures. I couldn't share that anymore. That was a woman, a lady actually, farming a lot of the things. It looks in the distance, looks like a lot of the harvesting, like a lot of flowers and stuff. If you look at it shortly, it's actually Bitcoin miners. So that was something people inscribed on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, at history. So history happened pretty fast. This cycle after ordinals, I always call ordinal summer was the first half of Bitcoin renaissance. And now we're getting to the second half. The second half, we talk about Bitcoin finality. All the things happening, all the high throughput, all the DeFi things happening on Ethereum, we might actually can provide this verification module. So whatever things happening on your layer 2, could be EVM compatible layer 2 or others, the key, most important things, is it actually verified on Bitcoin? If it's not a verified Bitcoin, you have completely different trust assumption or security assumption. So things verified Bitcoin with Bitcoin Finality is the biggest vision we need to achieve for Bitlayer. As a first principle, I don't care what other people think about the interesting throughputs or all kinds of scalable solutions. It needs to be verified on Bitcoin. If it's not a verified Bitcoin, it's fundamentally different. So that's the key part. We have two solutions we're looking at. The fraud proof, which is optimism rollup kind of approach, and the validity proof, which require this upgradation on the network side. We call it OpCat. So Bitlayer, we're approaching two sides. We're creating this new trusted programmable environment called a Finality sphere. So that's the way to kind of add up the new feature for Bitcoin. So you can do all kinds of DeFi protocol things in the transactions, but the state transition verified on Bitcoin through our verification layer. Let me move back again. In case people don't know, this thing is kind of already there in Ethereum in the last 8 years. It's built in. The reason we need to build that is Bitcoin didn't have this built-in verification, programmability. Optimism or ZK rollups on Ethereum, it's happened. With Ethereum, have the tooling completeness smart contract, rollup contract. Bitcoin doesn't have that. It's UTXO cash system. So that's the key difference. We want to fill in the gap, and then we can have the real mass adoption of DeFi Summer on Bitcoin. So path towards the Bitcoin verification is this two route. So BitVM is a very great concept. We were one of the first research teams start last October working on that. It has multiple iterations already. So we're working on the BitVM second version with this taproot verification route. And obviously, we have this very interesting parameter. If we have the OpCat operation in next, let's say, hopefully 6 months or even 2 months, 2 years, we're going to see a complete different new version of Bitcoin. And then we can have validity proof on Bitcoin. That's out of our control in terms of developers. And hopefully, we will see that in the upcoming years. So the key innovation Bitlayer have is called Bitlayer's Bitcoin-friendly ZK stock proof. That's the way to verify things without sacrificing the security assumptions, but also have a very good cost benefits. Inscribing things on Bitcoin block is expensive, right? To verify things on Bitcoin costs money. So how to build an engineering solution actually is cost benefiting and still have the same level of Bitcoin security. That's the key challenges. So our vision is to the right. Bitcoin Finality with layer 1 verification, trustless bridge, not just depend on the majority honest of signers, but also the third part, data availability. These are the three key parameters we want to achieve for the future of Bitcoin ecosystem. Right now, where we are is a bunch of sidechain with majority honest, trust assumption, multi-sig bridge. So that's kind of our key architect. It's a rollup equivalent, Bitcoin through our Finality bridge, bridging to our layer 2 environment through this, with that for the sequencers to go through this JSON blocks, and eventually through the DAC, we verify through the ZK stock approach. Layer 1 verification, asset bridging, and layer 2 execution. So we are 100% EVM compatible. We are one of the first team in the Bitcoin ecosystem try tapping into multiple VM. I think the future of VM is going to be not only EVM, but also Solana, Move, and Cairo. And we're comparing all these developer benefits on that. We're working very, very closely on the best VM engineers in the world. The roadmap. So we hit a V1 version of mainnet. We launched a couple of months ago. We are #1 on the TVL on DeFi Llama. We have over 2 million transactions already. 200 projects already deployed on our chain. We have a few builders in the audience actually working with us closely. Great to have them with our ecosystem. We hit quite a lot of transactions per day. So we are making gas fee revenue every day as we speak. The V2, which we're going to launch it hopefully next month, will be one of the first Bitcoin verification, battle tested solutions. So that's the true Bitcoin layer 2 we want to deliver. So the first version is just to bootstrap ecosystem, and this is the technical progress. With the core dev in BitVM community, we commit 3 SHA-256 bounties. We win multiple grants on the community. And the two things on the right are the two things we build and deliver for the community in a non-profit approach. BTC Eden, it's a Bitcoin version of L2 Beat. just track all the things happening on Bitcoin ecosystem with on-chain data, the category of the ecosystem infrastructure, and what they are working on to educate the community. The BitVM, we translate the white paper, we educate a lot of probably thousands of developers in Asia space and let them understand what's going on with the future of Bitcoin. We work with Stockware, they are our key technical partner, also is our seed round investor to push the OPCAT and the ZK stock. We are one of the biggest team, over 50 people engineers now, full-time working on that. One tapping into the layer one side on front-end and back-end, one on the V2 version of the ZK research. Me and my co-founder have been in the space for quite a while. I know we have kick-ass rockstar developers from Alibaba, from Stockware, and from other teams working on that. So let me spend 2 minutes talk about how we grow the ecosystem. That's something I've been having a lot of experiences. So we took the playbook of Blast with Arbitron. This is the two best and fastest growing ecosystem Ethereum. Three things fundamentally matters for the ecosystem: TVL, on-chain transactions, and actual use cases with product market fit. So that's the leaderboard we have on our ecosystem. You can see what's going on. This is the research center, basically the user center. We want to reward the real users who actually tap into our community, tap into all kinds of applications. So that's the way to check how many rewards you get for each individual and each real wallets. And we have this DApp center. We educate what this DApp does. And at the end of the day, if a DApp come to our ecosystem with no user using it, without achieving product market fit, it's kind of a waste of time and resources, right? So we try to really put a spotlight for our ecosystem projects. Some of them gain a lot of traction by building with us. Our OG Pass is absolutely to the roof. In case anybody wants to go to Singapore, September Singapore, we're gonna have our OG Pass Bitlayer parties. We're gonna invite some special guests, people who like. So we have this mining gala season 1. It's kind of like Formula 1 kind of campaign. We do that every month. The season 1, we achieved quite a lot of traction with 500 million TVL, 68 projects built on us with over 1 million transactions. Season 2, we have Jason, who was in the panel. Great to work with OKX. He's our investor and also ecosystem partner. We're the first Bitcoin project on their OKX Cryptopedia. We're expecting 500,000 users interact our chain, learn what kind of application our chain. This is still upcoming. So for people who want to tap into our reward or the bounties, you can still get on the OKX Cryptopedia to try out. We're the first and only Web3 brand sponsor this biggest debate in the history between Bitcoin and gold. Great to learn from Eric Ross and Anthony Faramucci. And we have been literally everywhere, in Asia, in Europe, and of course, in America. So that's our ecosystem landscape. A lot from DeFi space. Thousands of my friends from Ethereum world, where I'm orange pill them one by one to come to Bitcoin ecosystem. So for all the Bitcoin OGs, I always say to them, I'm not a Bitcoin OG. I'm not as old as them, like 12 years in the space. I only orange pill myself since the beginning of Ordinals. But my value I can bring, our team can bring, is a lot of design space, a lot of developer cultures we bring back to Bitcoin, because we know a lot of them. Absolutely great to have a lot of good investors helping us, especially this announcement 2 days ago we made. We're the first Bitcoin ecosystem project invested in the history by an ETF in a licensed firm. We're working very closely with Franklin Templeton, the top 3 biggest ETF firm in the world, on the Bitcoin money market fund. This will explore institutional level Bitcoin DeFi in the space. So I feel very interesting DeFi protocol and products we're co-designing with some builders specifically for these institutional clients. For people who want to learn what's going to happen next for our V2 and V3 version of a Bitlayer, our blog is the best way to learn the deep dive of how we're going to build the ZK stock, the BitVM tool, and all the Bitcoin verification. Our engineers, some of them are not necessarily the best person on the stage. They are really good writers. So we write a lot. We have a blog. So check it out. With that said, thank you very much. This is the time I want to just spend another 10 seconds to say, being in the space for almost 10 years, I've been to so many interesting ecosystems. But I always say to my friends who are still in Solana, in whatever other ecosystem, building on Bitcoin is not just about money. It's about making history. And I always believe 10 years later, there's only going to be 100% one ecosystem can survive. That's Bitcoin ecosystem. I don't know what's going to happen with Solana. Things happen with Polkadot. I have some friends with Polkadot as well. It was the most active ecosystem in the world, but become like very, very not active anymore. So things happening with Bitcoin, we need to remember that. Hopefully we have this video, we can look back. We did a thing in this cycle in 2024. We contribute a bit for the Bitcoin ecosystem. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen, Charlie's hat. One of the only ones to wear a hat. One of two so far on stage. Loving the orange. Great hat, Charlie. And thank you for presenting the beginning of the Bitcoin Layers era here at Bitcoin Builders Conference, Nashville.